BBB. Those initials in San Francisco and, well, actually now around the world mean only one thing: Beach Blanket Babylon. At 40 years and going strong and over 15,000 performances and, well, a lot of crazy hats like this, it is the longest running musical revue in the world. And with us tonight, one of its featured performers, Brendon North. Brendon, welcome.
Thanks for having me, David.
So, I understand you're a boy from Kentucky.
I am a boy from Kentucky.
So how did a nice guy like you end up in this crazy, insane thing called Beach Blanket Babylon?
Oh, goodness. I came in through a friend's recommendation. They said, you've got to get to this audition. You've got to see this show. And I really did not know what I was getting myself into. And so I got...
As do most of the audience members
Absolutely.
When they come to see it.
And so I was one of those fresh audience members. They gave me a ticket after I got the job. And I said, I really don't know what I'm about to get myself into. But was really just completely blown away by the marvel in front of me, the Technicolor ride that they take you on there. It's a lot of hats and it's a lot of fun. It's
a lot of fun. And of course, at 40 years old, I mean, the show is older than you were. I mean, you were born like what, in 1992 or something like that?
I'm not 90s. I'm close to 90s.
You're close to
quite.
it. Okay, a millennial, kind of, sort of. Now, for the very few people that have not seen, or I should say experienced, Beach Blanket Babylon, what is the basic plot, if you can call it that?
Our most basic framework is that Snow White is traveling around the world in search of her Prince Charming. So she goes to many locations that you know, and we put a little spin on it in a way you don't quite know. So she goes to Rome, but you've never seen a woman with quite a large plate of spaghetti on her head before.
No, I don't think ever. What is the best part of being in the show for you as a performer? I mean, we're not talking Ibsen here. I mean, this is one big plate of silly spaghetti with music.
And I think that's exactly it. I'm musical theater trained, and so it is nice to be in my element and getting to sing every night and getting to do something with so much frivolity and fun. I've never gotten to wear costumes like this in my life before, and I don't think I ever will after this job. I don't think quite the hats will be quite as big in the next play, if that ever comes along. But
yeah. Yeah, unless you're doing something that John Waters is directing with big hair or something.
Let's hope. Let's hope I can get into something John Waters.
So no, has family from Kentucky come to see this yet?
My mom just left. She came twice this past week. She was here for the 40th anniversary, actually.
Wow, and is she in therapy still, or is she okay?
She was absolutely thrilled to be a part of all this. She's just like me. She's campy and fun, and so why not be a part of that?
So it comes naturally.
Absolutely.
You're there with an incredible group of actors,
yes,
and singers, and performers. What is it like backstage?
It is high stakes, it is fast paced, and while we all get along, there's not a lot of time for getting along, because as crazy as you think it's on stage, it's 20 times faster backstage.
Right. What's the biggest mistake you've made on stage? I mean, for those who haven't seen Beach Blanket, I mean, there's a lot of crazy costume changes, big hats, and sometimes even flying over the audience.
There is some flying.
Do things break? Do things fall off? Do people's heels break?
Oh, of course, all the time. I mean, with so many costumes, a zipper's gonna bust, a seam is gonna rip, and thanks to our wonderful technicians backstage, thankfully the audience never really sees that. Knock on wood, I haven't had anything catastrophic yet. I'll get back to you on that. Yeah. But we have had some major times where we've had to scramble, and that's the joy of live theater. It's never the same, and especially when our show changes, it adds some chaos sometimes.
Yeah. I've been here in San Francisco almost 30 years, and so by the time I moved here, Beach Blanket was already established, but in the 30 intervening years since then, it has become, without exaggeration, San Francisco's official welcome mat.
The one and only.
To the world. What is it like being part of a show that it's more than just a show? I mean, it
Absolutely.
really is.
It's an establishment here. It's a legend here, and it's so nice to be a part of that. And to see people's faces light up when I tell them where I work is so exciting. I've never really had a position like that that really means something to people. And I see regular audience members come back time and time again, and the passion they have for it drives me. It gets me in front of them every night.
Now, besides doing the show at Club Fugazi, which I now believe is the official...
It's been our home base for almost the entire time. And
right.
We've been there for over 30 years.
But sometimes Beach Blanket Babylon goes out into the community. I mean, aren't there smaller versions or special appearances? I mean, I know you just did the 40th anniversary event at City Hall. Where else can people see the Beach Blanket Babylon characters?
Well, you know, we're kind of here, there, and everywhere. When there are special events in the city, we also like to give back to the city. Steve Silver was an incredible philanthropist for San Francisco, and we try to carry on that legacy. In addition to the 40th anniversary, we just finished up the scholarship show as well, so that happened on a Monday night. We gave out 3 $10,000 scholarships, and we tried to make our appearances here and there, but big events like our 40th are the most special occasions.
Now, I remember when Steve died, I met him briefly, and of course have seen and met his widow, Schumann Silver, over the years. How much is she still involved in this? Does she see it a lot?
Absolutely. She does see it a lot. And nothing gets added into the show without our team of our director, our producer, and our music director. So our wonderful producer, our music director, Bill Keck, Kenny Maslow, and Joe Schumann Silver, along with our choreographer, Mark Halpin, they all meet together and they make the changes, and then they come to us with what they've got.
Right.
And so we get to throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. The joy of doing it so many times is if it doesn't work on a Friday night, it won't be in on Saturday night.
Right. So, you know, I remember when I first saw it, I wouldn't have described Beach Blanket Babylon as a political show. It was just crazy. I mean, when I saw it, there were still the dancing sushi rolls and the Chinese takeout
Everyone
thing.
misses Yokohama, apparently.
I miss Yokohama. It's probably completely politically incorrect, but there's really not much in Beach Blanket Babylon that is politically correct.
Everything's done with a wink and a smile, but you can't say we're 100% PC. I agree with that. And so
I don't think
it was
you
only,
could come close to saying you were 100% PC. But it has become more political over the years.
It's taken a shift, as I've heard, through I work alongside some great performers who've been there for a long time, and I've been there a year and a half. So they've explained to me before the way the show used to be, and it's gotten much faster, and it's gotten much more current, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was getting older when I went to see Beach Blanket a few months ago, and there were a couple of characters and cultural references that I had no idea what they were talking about. But
sometimes I don't know. That's okay, and I have no excuse.
Well, that's just because you're not old enough to know who. Anyway, we'll get to that later. You say you work with a lot of incredible cast members. It's hard to single out any one person, but is there someone on stage every night that somehow it's just hard to keep a straight face working with?
Hard to keep a straight face, that's easy. It is so difficult to work next to Kurt Branham every night and try and take yourself seriously. I know he's been on the show before. He's an absolute delight to work with. He always keeps you on your toes, and he keeps me learning, and I love that.
Yeah, he's become famous as King Louis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, we talked about the show being political. I remember when I saw it 30 years ago, there was always kind of a gay element to Beach Blanket Babylon, but it was kind of low-keyed. Nowadays, you know, in a country in which we have over 23 states with marriage equality, Beach Blanket's kind of out of the closet.
Yeah, you might say that.
Have you gotten a response from audience members who maybe for them this is their first experience of quote-unquote gay San Francisco, who maybe they came into the show feeling one way and left going, wow, I feel differently?
I'm not certain that we're changing anyone's lives as far as their stance on homosexuality, but I do think that we have a lot of support, and you hear that back every night. King Louis does mention, I can marry now in 18 states, and we hear jeers and hollers every night.
Yeah. Have you ever had an experience on stage that made you think, wow, how am I going to get through this?
Oh, goodness. We've definitely seen some wigs flying off. We've seen some people go on stage with no microphone and just have to kind of throw them at each other, saying, here, go. I don't need to sing anymore. You're fine. We had quite the Christmas crisis this year. We had
the Christmas crisis?
We had a missing Santa coat and a bunch of Christmas trees and no Santa, and so Snow White came rushing to our aid, and she tap danced for the first time instead of Santa.
But the audience probably loved it.
Oh, they loved it. It was such an exciting experience for everyone on stage because we didn't miss a beat. And just to be a part of something so exciting and organic and fresh, and we're really thankful for Shauna Ferris, our Snow White, who has such a talent that she can come to our aid like that.
Yeah. I remember back in, I think it was 1988, for a brief shining moment, there was a second Beach Blanket production. It actually went to Las Vegas.
It did.
And, of course, I saw it at the Sands. That was very fun. And I think the only thing that survived from that production was, before that, it was Snow White and someone else, but after that...
Dorothy was in the show
Dorothy. Before. Now we have Madonna and Elvis. So, you know, can you give us a little bit of backstage, you know, is it going to change? Who are we going to get in years coming?
You know, why would you want to touch Madonna and Elvis, though?
I mean, Madonna...
I want them around for forever. They're hilarious.
Well, I mean, Madonna, as long as there's Botox, yeah, I mean, she's going to be eternal. But, I mean, you know, how involved are cast members like you in the storyline? How much improv is there?
There's not much improv, but there is a lot of crafting of the show. So rather than us doing things on the fly on stage, we are more influential in trying to create the piece as it evolves during the day to put it in that night. So they do listen to our suggestions if we have suggestions for ways that our lines could be more current. Maybe the Queen could say this instead of her previous line because we're a little far away from the Olympics now. Those kind of things have happened before.
Yeah. In our last few moments, talk to me about the schedule. I mean, it's got to be grueling. I used to be in theater, and I know that most of what you see on stage is preceded by 5 times as much rehearsal. What is your schedule? How often do you rehearse, and how often are you on stage? And how tired are you after that last show on Saturday night?
Oh goodness, on Sunday. We do 4 shows in 24 hours over the weekend. So we do 7 shows in Wednesday through Sunday. So it's a long week, but it's a rewarding week. By the time you're done with the weekend, you're definitely ready to probably head to the bar. Yeah. But it's definitely fast-paced, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right. In our last few moments, tell me, what is your favorite character that you portray on stage?
It's got to be the Poodle Trio. They are such a classic.
Can you give me a little poodle? Your poodle face, your poodle anything?
Poodle face. It's just everything is very much bright. You're very excited to see everything. I'm not certain. I've never been asked to do it on the fly. I kind of need the whole costume.
You've never been asked to do doggy style on the fly on TV?
Not
I'm sorry, you may be able to use that. Sorry, that was bad. That was bad. In closing, if someone wants to learn more about Beach Blanket Babylon, where do they go?
They go to beachblanketbabylon.com. That is the best way to find tickets, to find cast info, to find upcoming events, even upcoming auditions.
Great. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much.
Next up, our conversation with one of the cast members of another iconic San Francisco theatrical experience, the San Francisco Mime Troupe. We'll be right back.